And hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Before we do get into today's video, as always, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. So there's a lot of news to discuss in today's video. Of course, the transfer window has been open for some time now, and we've got a lot to go through as we've been kind of poised to sign 5 players, or being touted to sign 5 players this transfer window from a Celtic expert. So we'll discuss that in a second. Also, a player that has been linked to us previously, it feels like almost every transfer window there's a lot of noise around him coming to Celtic, Bojan Miovski. His asking price, or his valuation that Aberdeen have set on him, has now been revealed after other teams have been interested in him. So I do want to discuss all of this, but I want to start on by going over our former goalkeeper Joe Hart, because of course he retired at the end of last season after winning the double, the league and the Scottish Cup. And he's been done a lot of media across the Euros and done some podcasts here and there. One of which came out yesterday was the High Performance podcast, quite a popular one amongst football fans, and well, he's had quite a wide variety of guests on there, such as Gordon Ramsay as well. But yeah, he did an interview with Joe Hart yesterday, kind of talking about his career and how he felt about it coming to an end. Of course, the main subject of the podcast is to talk about how high performance has helped them in their career and hard work and their work ethic and stuff like that. Of course, Joe Hart's an advocate for that, a very hard worker, a massive voice at Celtic at the time he was here. So yeah, he basically spoke about his career, and of course that does involve Celtic. Now, when we signed Joe Hart initially, he was in a tough patch in his career. Of course, things had been in a downward spiral since Pep Guardiola came to Manchester City, and he kind of instantly got shone away from the squad, had multiple loan spells, moved to Tottenham Hotspur as a third-choice goalkeeper, never really got a look in elsewhere. And then, of course, when we signed him at Celtic, there was a lot of noise, is he going to be good enough? A lot of fans weren't too happy with the sign initially, but of course he quickly proved to be a very, very strong signing, a very good leader for us on and off the pitch. And a lot of Celtic fans grew closer to him, he grew closer to the club, and he's basically spoke out about his time at Celtic and how he loved the support, and in particular the Green Brigade. He basically mentioned how the atmosphere, the noise they create in the game is all him, and he wants to get involved in that. And he says in this clip in the podcast that he wants to join in with the Green Brigade for a couple of games and get involved with the fans to watch Celtic play, whether that be in the league or European nights or stuff like that. But yeah, it's very cool to see that despite, of course, retiring last season, he's still very much showing love and affection towards the fan base that kind of gave him a second chance in his career, if you will, after such a terror time since he left Manchester City. So I thought it was really cool. That's just a little bonus bit there. I thought Joe Hart, of course, done a lot of media in the last few weeks with the Euros, watching England play and stuff like that. And he's making the rounds on the podcasts as well now, and basically spreading his love for Celtic, which is always nice to hear from a former player, and I know that a lot of fans feel the same towards him. And it's going to be big boots to fill when, well, this transfer window, and of course next week in particular when the global transfer window opens, where a lot of the players and goalkeepers that we've been linked to are involved in teams across Europe, where we can now look to sign them and they'll look to sell them to Celtic. So that's quite interesting. Now let's discuss the Bojan Miovski one. This is quite interesting. It's not really anything to do with Celtic, but of course this player's been linked to us so many times across so many different transfer windows. We have, of course, had to mention this one. So Bristol City were a club leading the race to sign Bojan Miovski, but they've reportedly pulled out of that race due to the asking price from Aberdeen. So the asking price now is set at £7 million by Aberdeen, and Bristol City deem that far too expensive for them to pay, and they feel like with a lot of interest in him, they would never even get close to getting him across the or into the club and getting the deal over the line. So now it looks like Bologna are the front runners. Bologna currently have Joshua Zirkzee up front. He's linked to Manchester United. Looks like he might go to Old Trafford. So they are looking for a striker replacement, one of which being Bojan Miovski from Aberdeen. Now, with me, I think look at the options that we have to sign this summer. I've looked at Adam Ider as a potential good striker option on a permanent deal. I believe we can get him cheap in the £7 million. I would kind of aim towards more that side, look to get Adam Ider in on a permanent deal rather than spend £7 million on Bojan Miovski. I can't blame Aberdeen, of course. We speak loads of times about how our players are sometimes taken away from us for under the amount we believe they're worth. So I don't blame Aberdeen wanting more money for him, but for me, I wouldn't really want to pay any more than £3 million for Bojan Miovski. So I think £7 million is quite a lot. We value our players quite high, as we should, because they are brilliant players. And I think Bojan Miovski is a brilliant player, and I can't blame him for asking for so much money. They want to generate as much income as possible from their star player, which makes sense to me. But I do think Celtic will not be involved in that transfer race. There has been no concrete interest in, well, with us interested in Bojan Miovski this transfer window, and I think that asking price probably is the reason why. So I would focus our attention elsewhere on Adam Idah. Now let's go over what Frank McAvenny's had to say with regards to our transfer business, because he has basically said that we need to sign at least 5 players that will walk into the first team in order to impose ourselves on European competition. Which is quite a big statement there from Frank McAvenny. I don't really disagree either. I mean, the last 3 transfer windows have been poor in terms of recruitment. A lot of players we had are quote-unquote project players, and a lot of them haven't really worked out. So I do get what you're saying. We need 5 first-team players to walk in if you want to make a dent in the European competitions. So as of yet, this summer transfer window, no signings have been announced. So, of course, there's been a lot of positions that need to be improved, goalkeeper being the main one probably, now that Joe Hart's retired. But this is what Frank McAvenny had to say on his statement. I'm hoping Brendan Rodgers is on holiday and deals are getting talked about whilst he's away. But I don't want to see any more projects coming in. My personal view is that I want to see people that will come into the first team. I want to see 5 players who can walk into the first team if they're going to make a statement in Europe. I know they're not going to win any European competition, but at least give it a go and let everyone know the club are back. Get results at Parkhead. It was a fortress for years, even when I was there, and it's too easy to turn them over there now. So, quite a brutal statement there from Frank McAvenny. We're never going to win a European competition. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think if we make the right recruitment, get the right players in through the door, anything's possible. I mean, Rangers were in the Europa League final like 3 years ago, so anything is possible. And we have got a much stronger squad than they had even then. So it's definitely doable, and so I don't really agree with that statement. But I do agree with the fact that we need to sign a lot of players that can walk into the first team and compete for a first team place to even make a dent in Europe right now. We're nowhere near at the quality we need to be. And as he said, Parkhead needs to become a fortress again for sure. So definitely in agreement with 80% of what he said there. But yeah, so that's a kind of fingers crossed a little bit. A lot of first team quality players do come in through the door. We spoke about McKenna maybe coming in, who could be a good one. Chris Mepham in defence. Vindel Henson, the goalkeeper from Sparta Praha. So there's a lot of names being thrown around. So we had to wait and see with regards to that. But it's been pretty quiet on the incoming front recently. But let me know your thoughts with regards to everything we discussed in today's video. As always, drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.